Do you feel like you are exhausted at the end of each day? Or in fact, right in the middle of the day? Well, that's happening a lot right now. And with the work that I'm doing around the world, one of the key elements that is the major work that I do is to help people to shift the way that they do things so that they can avoid burnout. Hi, this is Grant Herbert, Leadership and Sustainable Performance Coach. And today I want to continue our conversation in our area of professional leadership by helping you to understand that sustainable is the new high. High performance is something we've talked about for years. It's something that people have developed, and there's even special coaches that help people to do that. But the problem is, as we've said all along, today's leaders need to be taught to lead in today's world. High performance alone is not enough. There are periods where you do need to be able to perform at a high level, but doing that over the long term just doesn't work. We're not living and working in the same world that we used to. There are so many things changing, so many external things having an effect on us. The world is different, and we need to alleviate some of these challenges that are there, and it starts with you. You can optimize your output and avoid burnout by changing your thinking and your behavior. You've heard me say many times, there is no such thing as work-life balance. It assumes that work and life are separate, and they're not. Work is just a part of your life, and I know, because it happens to me as well, that sometimes it feels like it's the only part of your life that you have any time and effort and energy to put into. It consumes so much of you. But I'm here to tell you, as someone who has had 2 physical breakdowns in the last 20 years, it's not the way to do things. Now, when we started this conversation around the 9 crucial shifts, we went into the identity area and we talked about the reasons why we perform at a high level for so long, that performance trap, that approval addiction, imposter syndrome, the fear of not belonging, the fear of not being enough, the fear of not being loved. Those are the things that drive the thinking that then drive the poor behavior that made me burn out. It wasn't just the workload. It wasn't just the external circumstances that were going on. It was the way that I navigated them. And I want to be as vulnerable as I can to help you to not have the same experience as I did. Most people today that I work with are on the edge, and they need copious quantities of caffeine just to stay awake so that they can get what they need done, so that they can go home and then think about what they didn't get done. So today, I hopefully will get your attention so that you can shift the way that you think about you and what you need to do to succeed. You know, even that word itself, succeed, being successful, that has some connotations that are not healthy. It's created a hustle and grind mentality and a whole rhetoric and echo chamber around that. And people feel if they need to do those sort of things so that they do belong. And that is damaging the health of people all around the world. And you're probably one of them. Not sleeping enough, not eating well, not consuming enough water on a daily basis, whatever it is. There are things that you and I do that hold us back from being at our optimum. You see, here's the thing. You can have the best performance car on the planet. This morning I watched with my son the Austrian Grand Prix, and we saw the cars that were jostling for position, but there were certain cars that actually got in front of the others. They were faster. And it wasn't just the car itself, it was the way that they looked after the driver. It was the way that the pit crew all worked together to make sure that they put out their best. It was the way they used strategy. And they got to the finish line. Unfortunately, some didn't. And that's what happens in the world of work that you and I are in. But you can have the best car in the world. But if you don't look after it, it's not going to get you to where you want to go. It's going to break down, and you're going to need to put that extra effort and energy to even get it back to where it was before. So the shift we're talking about here is going from that high performance mentality alone to sustainable performance. So yes, still being a high performer, but doing it in a way that means you can do it for longer. You can do it without it being a detriment to your health. You can do it and have longevity so that you can be who it is that you need to be for everyone else that you want to be that in your life for longer. You know, as a grandfather, I got a new lease on life and a new way of thinking. You know, it's not just about me. It's who would I leave behind if I didn't look after myself well enough. Now, I need to tell you, just as I do with everything else that I teach, I'm a work in progress in this every single day, just like you. I still run at a high pace for too long. I'm just more mindful of it now, and I'm able to rein myself back. And hopefully something that I say to you today will get you to do the same thing. We talked about a high performance car. And here's one of the things, I want to use that as a metaphor as we go through. Here's one of the things that we do, and you could be just like I am or was as well. You know, you're driving along in your car and it's got that gauge in the middle that tells you how much fuel you've got. And some people see that as a challenge. Okay, that E or that light coming on, that's just a suggestion. And how far can I go before I have to pull up and get some more fuel? Some people, those who think about this more long term, when the fuel is about 3/4 empty, they put more in so that there's not living on the edge, that stress that goes on with, will I actually get to the next service station? Will I actually be able to make it through today to get done what I want to get done? So make sure that you put in what you need so that that body of yours and that brain of yours will get you through. You know, we consume so much of the water that's in our body in the workings of our brain. And if you're not drinking enough during the day, then you're dehydrating. And that dehydration gives you brain fog. It doesn't allow you to make the right decisions. And you then don't get done in the most efficient way what it is that you want to get done. So, simple things. It's not big things that you need to make shifts in here. But as I said, the first shift you need to make are the ones up here. You need to make shifts in the way that you think about high performance. You need to keep working on that identity that says you are enough. And yes, you are teachable and there are things that you can work on, but you're not there to perform to get the approval of others. You're there to become who you need to be, to get the things done that you need to do to have the results that you want. So thinking differently around saying yes and no appropriately to things that come across your desk. Being able to rationally look at things and go, what's my capacity like? Do I have any more bandwidth to take anything else on? You're not an infinite resource. You need to make sure that you do things in a sustainable way. Another thing that I find really helpful is to be able to look at your biorhythms. Next week, we'll talk about the neuroscience of performance. But looking at your biorhythms and going, when am I at my peak? And being able to manage the way that you operate around those. You know, some people are morning people. I'm definitely one of those. Some people are evening people. That's my wife. But if I run late into the evening, it doesn't work for me. It means I'm behind the 8 ball for tomorrow, but whatever it is for you. Obviously doing that in balance with what your clients need and when they're available and all those things, but just shifting your thinking around these things. High performance is not something that you can sustain for a long period of time. you can perform at the optimum levels when you need to if you make these shifts, you make these changes. And next week, as I said, we're going to go into the brain and have a look at how this actually works. And then you're going to be able to do things differently so that you can get to lunchtime in your day and know and feel that you have enough energy to get done what you need to get done in the rest of the day. We talk about, time management and all those things, and I'm going to help you to get rid of those over the next few weeks. But it's more about managing yourself, managing the way you think and the way that you operate for yourself and within the team environment that is the key to sustainable performance. I want you to imagine yourself 10 years from now when you've done things differently to what you're doing right now and you feel different to even how you feel right now. Think about the people that you're doing that for. Set yourself some realistic targets over the next month with me to change what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it so that you can avoid burnout. But not only avoid burnout, you have enough energy to be who you need to be in every area of your life. I hope I've got your attention today. That's what I wanted to do. And if you need some help with this area, even though I'm someone who has had a couple of breakdowns in the last 20 years, let me tell you that has taught me so many things that I can bring to you and help you as well. So reach out. I'd love to be a part of your journey to sustainable performance. I'll see you next week.